Brilliant. So welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. It was a few weeks ago, I can't remember when exactly, but we had the first part of our Northern Ireland presentations. So we had over, the last time I checked with you earlier today, we had over 170 people registered for this. So as usual, everyone will get a recording of the presentations, and that will be sent out to you tomorrow or the next day. And the last time we met many new experiences that were available. So today what we're focusing on is we have three properties. So we have the Harrison Chamber of Distinction. We have the Old Inn in Crawfordsburn, which has been resurrected and renovated. And then we have the Regency, which I visited not too long ago and was written up in I think it was Forbes magazine, Katie, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And then we're going back to Hillsborough because Hillsborough is amazing. It's amazing for private visits. A lovely cafe beside it. So it's great, when you're going, especially if you come in from Dublin and you're going towards Belfast or on your way back to Dublin, if you're flying out from Dublin, etc. So fantastic for a stopover. Crindle Bespoke Hannah Patterson. I've travelled with a lot recently, and we're all the time being asked for equestrian holidays, and she can do amazing experiences, both lasting a day and longer. And then also we have Mark Rogers, who is the best guide in Northern Ireland and knows all about the Giant's Causeway and that Antrim coast and etc. So we're going to be talking to him as well. So we're going to first start off with the Regency, which is a stunning hotel in Belfast, but a different style to a normal or regular what you expect from somewhere that you're staying. So Katie, over to you.
Thank you so much, Siobhan. Really appreciate the introduction and delighted to be here and tell you a little bit about our property. I'm not sure if the video is going to play first or if that format's going to work.
I'll play that first. I've got it ready here. Just give me a second. Where did it go?
I still see you wearing the Africa necklace.
I know, I am. Okay. Haven't forgotten yet.
And because you got that in Tanzania, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I had to climb Kilimanjaro in August, so
good in my memory.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we'll start off with the video.
It gives a sense of place, so it's good.
Thank you. So hopefully for any of you that haven't visited us, that gives a little oversight of what the property looks like, and the kind of property that we are. Before I launch into telling you a little bit more about what we offer here, there may be some confusion around the branding. So I know that we're registered on this webinar as the Regency, but actually at the end of this week, we're launching our new website and doing a slight brand refresh to Regency House. So from here on in, it'll be Regency House. That's something I need to get used to in my own mind. So if I say the Regency again, please ignore me. But I suppose just to set a little bit of context for those of you that aren't familiar with us, we are located in South Belfast. So we're right around the corner from Queen's University. But only around 10 minutes on foot from the city centre. So it feels quite suburban in this area of town, but we all know that Belfast is a small place really, and that you're never too far from the hustle and bustle. So we are in renovated Georgian terraces. So the Regency House concept has kind of grown out of the renovation journey. The same way that you might be familiar with Georgian crescents in the likes of Bath and Edinburgh and even Dublin. Belfast, unfortunately, ours had gone into dereliction. And whenever we started acquiring properties in this area, then the Regency House concept grew out of there. So we surround a beautiful little Georgian green park, and it's a really, like I say, suburban, quiet feeling part of the city. So I've referenced the Regency House concept. So I'm going to try and explain quite quickly, quite briefly, what exactly we are. And as Siobhan said at the start, we're a slightly different kind of property. So over the past, I would say 3 to 4 years, I've worked really closely with our owners, Anthony and Andrea, to design a hospitality concept for Belfast that doesn't conform to the norms, that doesn't conform to what we may be used to from a lot of the larger chain style hotels that are available. We have actually adopted the terminology of a modern hospitality house. So we don't really feel that we are a hotel. We're not really a guest house. We're not really a B&B. And we've really, really struggled to find, well, okay, I'm not all of those things, but what are you? And people kept asking us, what are you? What are you? And we have adopted the terminology of a modern hospitality house. And what we really mean by that is that we are taking a holistic view on what hospitality is and on what people expect now. So we want to exceed the expectations of our guests across a range of their needs and desires. And we believe that truly the most affluent and well-traveled guests that we see now, they're kind of done with the big shiny chain hotels that exist in every country and on every continent. And what they're truly seeking is a few things. And to us, they are a deep understanding of their personal needs, a deep understanding of what they want to gain from their trip, a tailored and bespoke approach to their holiday. They don't want their holiday to feel like every other person's holiday. They want it to feel tailored to them. They also want an authentic experience. They don't want to be staying somewhere that, you know, could really be anywhere in the world. If they're coming to Ireland, they want an authentic Irish experience. They want to taste the local produce, see the local sites, meet the local people. But they do want a level of comfort and quality that many of the people we see are used to in their daily lives. I wish my living room looked like this. It doesn't. But for a lot of the people we see, they're not, you know, this is how they have a very comfortable and high quality life at home, and they want that in their holiday as well. So of course your facilities, your products have to meet their expectations, and if at all possible, exceed their expectations. So I suppose that all sounds wonderful hypothetically, but how are we doing that? How are we putting it into practice? I think the first thing is product design. You can hopefully see from the room behind me, we have not designed Regency House to look like a hotel. No 2 bedrooms are the same, no 2 bathrooms are the same, no 2 living rooms are the same. Every single room is different, and it is designed that when you're here, it very much feels like you're in a home. Our furniture is bespoke in many cases. So for example, the sofa right behind me was built locally in Newry, which for those of you who don't know is about halfway between Belfast and Dublin. And we also have lots of antiques that we salvaged from around Ireland as well. So no 2 pieces are the same. Everything is very high quality. We have, for example, you can maybe see far in the distance, DeLonghi bean to cup coffee machines in each of the residences, and premium facilities throughout. The second thing that makes us hopefully stand apart is our service and our team. We obviously have a very small environment. We only have 5 suites in the current phase of the Regency, and I will finish off by telling you about our expansion plans, but right now we only have 5 suites. So every guest has a very tailored, bespoke approach, right down to the drink that they receive in their welcome hamper. We would ask them what their favorite drink is and source that for them. We can do grocery shops, etc., little, preference shopping, whatever they want. Their stay will very much be tailored around what their likes and their desires are. And of course, again, being a small property, we have an exceptionally high staff to guest ratio. So we are probably on the same ratio, if not better, than some of the amazing 5- and 6-star resorts across the world. We have the time to build rapport with each of our guests. So very quickly, what can you expect if you stay at Regency House? Well, you can expect to stay in a suite that looks a little bit like this. You can expect to be served breakfast in your suite in the morning. So you can maybe just see in the background a lovely dining table. So our in-house chef would prepare your breakfast freshly, and that would be served to you in here in the morning. Throughout your stay, you will have a butler or concierge service. So we operate whatever style of communication you prefer. That can be you popping down and speaking to us if you like a face-to-face interaction. That can be you lifting the phone. That can be you just sending us a quick message on our messaging app. And you could say, I want a taxi, or I fancy a cocktail, or XYZ, and our team will deal with that straight away. We have a little lounge downstairs that is only accessed by guests staying in the suites, and you can avail of a complimentary service in there. So there's some snacks and drinks there throughout the day, and there's also paid for items as well. So you can order from the wine list, the cocktail list, etc. there, and there's a little outdoor courtyard space as well. And of course, our concierge service extends beyond the walls of the Regency. So if you want to experience the best food in Belfast, if you want to go for a wonderful tour on the North Coast with the lovely Mark that you're going to hear from later, we can arrange all of that for you. So if you have maybe decided you wanted a rest day and then you get to your rest day and you don't have anything planned, we can certainly help you out with that as well. And that service runs 24 days, 7 days a week. So our guests are never left without that one-to-one service. And finally, hopefully I'm not talking too long, finally, I'll tell you a little bit about our future developments. So you'll have seen from the video that we primarily cover 2 areas at the moment. The first is obviously the accommodation that I've talked about. We also have our events venue, and we have a number of spaces. So we have a private dining room, and then our main events venue where we host our own events, and also where people can book to host their private events. But our third and final phase of development in the Crescent area of Belfast will launch this autumn. And that is really what's going to be our main house. That's going to be the main central point to Regency House. So there you will have a beautiful restaurant, a wine bar and library, and a wellness suite with gym facilities, as well as hot tub, outdoor cold plunge, if that's what you're into, all of those things. And also our accommodation offering will grow. So we will have 8 guest rooms, kind of akin to your 5-star hotel rooms, but again, very uniquely designed, very much in the interiors that we have here. And of course, with that, we want to maintain the exclusivity of the property. So right now, people can't just walk in off the street to use the toilets, or you wouldn't find that in the main lobby. We want to maintain that exclusivity, but obviously create the footfall for the restaurant, etc. So we will be launching a house membership in line with the launch of that final phase of development. That won't preclude anyone from staying at the Regency. You will simply become, Regency House. You will simply become a honorary member for the duration of your stay and be able to avail of all of the facilities as well. So more to come on that, but thank you very, very much for your time, and I really appreciate the opportunity, Siobhan.
You're more than welcome, Katie. So just to add my little bit, when I went there, it's amazing. So the reason I use the word hotel still is because you're an alternative to staying in a hotel. So if people are thinking there's a hotel in Belfast they have to go to, like, you're amazing at what you offer. I should probably kill me for saying this, but I had a very sort of a travel writer traveling with me who has particular requests, and some of them, they're quite tough and challenging to fulfill. And I must say, all your team went beyond and above the call of duty. Like we had arrived late. You provided, you got a lunch in for us, exactly what we needed, the breakfast, like apart from the drinks and everything. And one thing I really like is I love, when you've had a busy day and you just want to have that glass of wine comfortably in quietness before you go out for the evening or whatever. So I could go downstairs, help myself to the glass of wine, chilled, everything, is just there for you, everything you possibly want. And like, even though we're leaving in the really early hours of the morning as well to catch an early morning flight, from Dublin Airport, which was 90 minutes away, whatever. But, you arranged for us to have the breakfast and the children that were traveling with her to have those packed bags. So like there was literally like the attention to detail and the customization of the stay for the client is out of this world. And when our own team went up then to do the site inspection, they were all blown away as well. So it really is a fantastic addition to the accommodation offerings in Belfast. So thank you very much for that again. So we're going to
just have a quick question. There's someone asking about handicap friendly room, if you have any, or is it stairs?
Yeah, so unfortunately right now we do have a unit on the ground floor which is very accessible in our phase, but that is it. Unfortunately, the rest of the suites we can't put a lift in the Georgian townhouses. However, with our phase 3, our next phase of development that's coming, we will have more accessible rooms. So from November we'll delightfully be able to accommodate more accessible units within the property.
Perfect.
And you have had very many illustrious clients staying as well.
Yes, lots of stories to tell.
yeah, lots of famous politicians, etc., staying there. So we're going to move on to Alan Greer, and Alan is based in Hillsborough. And you can tell us, Alan, what you do, but I must say every time I go there or visit with clients, I always come away very happy.
Well, that's a good thing. I'm very glad you come away happy, Siobhan, and we're gonna continue the theme of Georgian architecture and also famous people and politicians, I guess, as well. I wonder, Giovanna, if we maybe just play the video just to give a sense of what the place is.
Yeah, first.
Thank you. And this is my living room. I just want everybody to know that backdrop is definitely where I hang out all the time.
Welcome to Hillsborough Castle and Gardens. With a renowned history stretching back over 300 years, this captivating castle has witnessed the meeting of great minds and the unfolding of significant historical events. From presidents to prime ministers, the castle has stood as a silent guardian, providing the perfect backdrop for many momentous events throughout history, playing host to some of the world's most recognizable figures. Today, this extraordinary Georgian mansion opens its doors to a new era, offering a range of atmospheric spaces to be explored and enjoyed by all. Whether it's a day trip with friends or family, a private tour, an intimate corporate dinner, Hillsborough Castle and Gardens embraces every occasion with historic grandeur. Beyond the castle walls, vintage terraces, meandering waterways, and immaculate lawns make up the 100 acres of idyllic surrounding grounds, perfect for tranquil walks and opulent weddings and celebrations. Situated just 20 minutes from Belfast, Hillsborough Castle and Gardens is easily accessible for all by car and public transport. To discover more, get in touch with our local team.
And Alan, can I just say again, isn't that the official residence of the King when he goes to Northern Ireland now? Because people
Absolutely.
don't know that. And it's also a royal palace because you were upgraded a few years ago.
Yes, and Hillsborough is now a royal town as well. So it's one of only 4 royal towns in Britain and Ireland, actually, and that's as part of the long association of the royal family with Hillsborough. So yes, you're absolutely right, and that's why I have a portrait of the King in my living room that you can see there just to the side of me, hopefully in the picture. So you're absolutely right. So I mean, Hillsborough Castle and Gardens, essentially it's an 18th century country home built by the Hill family. From which, of course, Hillsborough and all of the other various Hillsboroughs that there are in the world, which I'll talk a little bit more about shortly, get their name. So since the early part of the 20th century, it's been the home of the royal family in Northern Ireland. That's really when the association of the royal family as we know it today really began with Hillsborough, although there are links going right back to the 18th century, which again we'll talk about as I move through. So when members of the royal family come to Northern Ireland to carry out their engagements and their duties here, this is where they stay and host most of their engagements as well. As well as being a royal residence, it's also a political residence. It has been the residence of the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland since the 1970s, since that position was created. But its association with secretaries of state actually goes all the way back to the 1770s, never mind the 1970s. Wills Hill, who built the castle in the 1750s, was a secretary of state himself in George III's cabinet. So again, lots of Georgian references going through here. And he was a secretary of state for what was then known as British North America. And essentially, it was his job to keep the whole of North America British, which, as you know, he definitely didn't succeed in doing. So the first international visitor to the castle was actually in 1771, and that was Benjamin Franklin. He and Wills Hill held talks, ultimately finding themselves in a state of disagreement, as can sometimes happen with politicians, leading, of course, a few years later to the Declaration of Independence. Political negotiations have been a thread that have run through the history of the castle all the way from the 1770s right through until Northern Ireland's more recent past. And of course, many of the negotiations that have taken place as part of the peace process over the last 40 years, culminating, I guess, in the best known of all of those agreements, the Belfast Good Friday Agreement of 1998. Much of the work leading up to that negotiation and many good negotiations since have taken place here at the castle. So we often say that if walls could talk, what stories they could tell, but it's probably for the good of peace in this land, possibly even internationally, that they can't talk. So we'll leave that there. So the beautiful state rooms have borne witness to political discussions concerning the history of the whole of North America, as well as the history of Ireland and Britain itself over many years, in addition, of course, to state and royal occasions as well. I should say there are, I mentioned or alluded earlier to the fact that there is more than one Hillsborough in the world. There's a Hillsborough just outside Sheffield in England, but there are also Hillsboroughs in North America, particularly, I know there's definitely one in Florida and also one in North Carolina, and those are all linked to the Hill family, and of course their long association with that part of the world. I should say that there are also links, mainly through the neighbouring estate here at Moira, which is next to Hillsborough, with the other side of your border, the US-Canadian border, of course, because Lord Moira, whose names also included Rawdon Hastings, has strong links on the Canadian side of things as well. So that's reflected in the town of Hastings and also the nearby settlement of Rawdon and the Moira River in Ontario, all linked to the local area as well. The organisation that I work for, Historic Royal Palaces, we are an independent conservation. We do conversation as well, but definitely conservation charity. And I guess that's important because a lot of people think because of our association with the royal family and association with political events, a lot of people would assume that we're funded by the government or that we're funded by the royal family, but we're not. All of the conservation and conversation work that we do here is all funded directly by the ticket sales, by the visits to the castle, by people coming and visiting this place. So I think it's important to know that any revenue that we generate from that goes back into the charity to be able to bring the stories of this place to life, as well as keeping the very fabric of the building going. So yeah, we bring the stories of this beautiful Georgian home to life, and for your guests, we try very much to tailor that to their needs. So we like to get to know who is coming, who's visiting us as part of our tours, so that we can kind of draw out all of those links. Because a castle such as this, which has hosted many people over 3 centuries, usually will have links to various parts of the world, and particularly strong links to the kind of the British, Irish, and North American world in particular. So we always try to bring that out and tailor that, particularly for clients who are maybe on discovering their backgrounds and their own roots, and all of that. The castle very much lends itself, as Siobhan has suggested, to private tours, private dining, and I've certainly found that no tour of mine is ever diminished by having a glass of champagne in your hand. In fact, my tours get exponentially better the more glasses of champagne that are taken as you make your way around. So that's always.
I can vouch for that.
They start off pretty good, I'm going to say, in the first place, but definitely the addition of champagne never takes anything away for anything. So in addition to our castle tour, blending the various elements of the history of the castle together, we also offer an art tour, and you can probably just about see there from the background. I'll just move slightly out of the way. The drawing room, which is the backdrop today, is actually full of Irish art, which is very much a preference of His Majesty the King, and actually his late grandmother, the lady that we used to refer to as the Queen Mother. That's obviously the mother of the previous Queen. So great aficionados of Irish art. So the drawing room that we're in there has much more contemporary feel to other elements of the castle. And as part of the art tour, we lead our visitors, our guests, through essentially a kind of a grand tour of art history, and we have a real expert in art who looks after that. We have an art tour.
Alan, I'm going to ask you to wrap up quickly if that's okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem at all. So yeah, in addition to that, we also look after 100 acres of stunning gardens. That's formal gardens, ponds, lakes, meandering pathways, and our 4-acre walled garden in which we grow fruit and vegetables, which is they're actually used in our cafe and served in the castle as well. So that just gives you a little bit of a synopsis of what the Castle and Gardens is all about. And of course, you're very welcome to get some more information from either myself or Siobhan. Thank you.
Brilliant. And just one last little question, because it hasn't been asked, but it's important for people. Suitable for families to visit as well.
Absolutely, it is, and we tailor that, and we have some tricks of making some of those quite adult and historical themes much more appealing to people of all generations. Yeah.
And just one last question: the new Michael Douglas film Franklin, does it reference the Hillsborough visit?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I'm going to have to find that one out for the next time.
But just to say, amazing anecdotes when you're doing that visit. So because we have a lot of people today, we're going to go quickly on to Melanie Harrison of the Harrison Chambers of Distinction. And again, a new offering in Belfast. So I'm so excited that all these new properties are opening up. So also included on our fam trip when we went to Belfast, and the team had an amazing time. So over to you, Melanie.
Hello, yes, I'm Melanie Harrison, and I am the owner of the Harrison here in these beautiful Victorian merchants buildings built in 1879, well before Belfast was even named a city in 1888. And as you can probably see out the window behind me, we've got this lovely cherry blossom out. And you can see that it's a gorgeous conservation area. And I love this area so much. I really sort of think of it as the museum and cultural area. We've got the Botanic Gardens there with the Ulster Museum and Queen's University, which is going to be 180 years old next year. And we also have just up the street.
You're not too far away from the Regency as well. So it's lovely that
not very far at all.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So we're both in these conservation areas. So it's just lovely to be able to, that people can enjoy these gorgeous old houses. So and just behind here, just where those cherry trees are, is you go up there, you've got the Lyric Theatre where Liam Neeson started off. We've had people like Kenneth Branagh, Kieran Hines all acting there. So we would attract a lot of the sort of the theatre crowds down here. You get a lot of sort of, because of the art galleries and everything, you would attract a lot of sort of artists, and you've got the book crowd and all the rest. So it really is a beautiful area of the city. The good thing about this area as well is you're just turning off the M1. If you are driving, you can just you take a left and a right, leave the car in the car park. You don't need your car in Belfast. Just forget about it. It's such a walkable city as well. But really, like, I think when I think of my guests and why people are coming to Ireland, well, they're definitely not coming for the sun. They're coming to immerse themselves in our culture. They want to find out about our history because it sort of relates so much to, around the world. It relates to so many other countries, and really just to hear our stories, really enjoy the crack and meet characters. And there's so many stories. These houses actually have stories we should hear about a bit in the video that's going to follow. The rooms all have their own stories. All the antiques and the artifacts and the art all have their own stories. They're all locally sourced and local artists, and really great little conversation pieces. You really find actually when people come, they want to find out, about all the different interesting things. And that not only inspires conversation between us and the guests, but between other guests as well. So you really find that, people...
what we should probably really do is look at the video just to give people a sense of place.
Exactly, and then we can chat.
How many bedrooms do you have, Melanie?
I've 16 at the moment, and by January I will have 27.
And what food offerings can you do? Breakfast?
Yes, we do breakfast, and by January we're going to be having a piano bar and a supper club.
Oh, lovely.
So it'll be more sort of a casual, because right next door within the building, we have a Michelin restaurant. We have Shoe Downs around the corner, Dean's down the street, Peculiar Tea. We've got all the Michelin Michelin restaurants around the place. But this is going to be more sort of a very much more relaxed affair with more local foods and, So
do you have the video there?
Relaxed. Yeah, I have it ready.
Brilliant.
Welcome to the Harrison Chambers of Distinction. I am Melanie, your host. Come and see some of the fabulous rooms we have for you to stay in when you come to visit us in our fabulous city. So these 9 Victorian terrace houses have a fascinating history. One of the most interesting residents of the row was John Cleaver, who lived here in number 45 with his wife Mary and their 8 children. He had the famous department store in Belfast. Welcome to the Ruby Murray room, where you can listen on your record player, singing to the starlet herself, star of the 1950s, who just lived locally here. As you can see, we have the beautiful cornicing from 1879, and the floorboards are from the Royal Victoria Hospital around the corner. Ruby Murray had 5 hits in the top 20 at the one time, something that is unrivaled even by the Beatles, by Elvis, the Rolling Stones, Michael Jackson. She's our very own starlet from Belfast, and we're so proud of her. She's absolutely beautiful.
Turn the key and open up my heart.
And here we have the John Hewitt suite. He was another one of our famous residents here in the 1930s, and he lived here with his wife Roberta. And here we have this beautiful mural of John Luke's. John Luke, of course, was a great friend and a contemporary of John Hewitt. He really loved John Luke's work. He always said John Luke's painting was a mural looking for a wall, so of course we have done a mural on a wall. How many of you knew that C.S. Lewis
the author of The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe and the Chronicles of Narnia, was born right here in Belfast. We have lots of the C.S. Lewis books here that you can have a read of while you're here. Just for a bit of fun, we have a little woodland animal here, Mr. Bertie the Badger. He can keep you warm at night instead of a hot water bottle. This is the Bronte suite, and the story of the Brontes actually is that Patrick Bronte, the father of the famous authors, was from County Down. Charlotte, one of the most famous novelists in the world, married his curate, who was from County Antrim, the county in which I am standing now in Belfast. Thank you so much for visiting us at the Harrison today. I hope you found out just a little bit about Belfast through the amazing people who have shaped our city. And I really look forward to welcoming you when you come to stay in Belfast. And I really hope you'll choose the Harrison as your place to stay.
That's really amazing. Like, it's lovely that you're incorporating so much of the culture and the history into the rooms, Melanie. It really works well.
Yeah, what better way to learn about the city, who the people who've shaped it. And really, I'm so proud of the people who have come from here and how they've influenced, you know, events and people all over the world. So I think that's really what's coming. You're going to learn a lot, but in a very playful way.
Yeah.
And we just like not to take ourselves too seriously. It's a very relaxed place. I really like to think when people arrive, you know, they just completely, you know, relax and enjoy the crack and the conversation. And I think that's really, you know, what stands us out. You know, we've got a lot of personality, and people are really loving it and leaving us great reviews as a result.
No, it looks really out of this world and looks very different, and that's what people like as well. Just before we leave you, can you tell us, you were mentioning the piano bar, is it in Supper Club?
Yeah, so that will be opening in January 25 with the new rooms.
Fantastic. That's not that far away. This year is...
No, work has started already. So yeah, I just have to keep cracking the whip.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. So delighted to have you on and for people to learn about the Harrison. So thanks a million, Melanie.
Thank you so much. You're very welcome.
So we're going now on to Mark Rogers, and Mark has worked with us for a very long time, and you do a lot of things that are different as well, Mark. Sort of intimate experiences that aren't available, you know, to the average person, but also very much off the beaten track, and you know Northern Ireland so well.
Thank you very much, Siobhan. Yeah, believe it or not, this is my 11th year now as a guide.
Wow.
Folks, when I call myself a guide and a storyteller, it's not because it's a job or an occupation. It's simply the continuation of a way of life that has been in my family for 140 years. I'm the third generation of this family to actually be a guide on the iconic Giant's Causeway, and I'm the first generation to take our business elsewhere along the Antrim shore. And that includes Dunluce Castle, the very famous Cahagareed Rope Bridge, and the world's oldest licensed distillery at Bushmills. And as Siobhan has hinted at there, with that length of longevity across the shore, and my family is held in great esteem here, we can open doors that other people simply cannot open. And we do that on behalf of Siobhan and Adams and Butler on a regular basis. What I want to do with Giovanni's help is show you a little video. William John was my mentor. He was my founder. He taught me, and he always used to say, Mark, anchor your future in your past, impact in the present day, and evolve into the future. My attempt at evolving into the future is that my 9-year-old grandson made the video that you're going to see right now. So that he will be the 5th generation of our family that's involved with this kind of work. So Giovanni, if you do me the honor of playing the video, please.
Perfect.
Thank you.
We're ready.
So there you are, folks. That's just a little glimpse of the beautiful area is the Causeway Coast. Each of those sites is remarkable in their own way. Dunluce is the ancestral home of the MacDonalds of Antrim. I would be friendly with the family, and therefore I am the only guide with access onto Dunluce to tell their family history there in a wonderfully entertaining and educational way. Carrick-a-Reid, the world knows the rope bridge, but when we get there, we want to do a bit more than that. So we cross the bridge and we get access to the fisherman's cottage. Just think of this, folks. That bridge was first erected in 1755. The cottage was built in 1784. And today, with Adams and Butler, we can access that cottage. We can light the fire. We can drink whiskey. And we can tell the stories of that industry. The only problem you ever have is getting people to actually leave. They want to stay, and that's not a bad complaint. The Giant's Causeway is my ancestral home. It's where we belong. My wife Rosemary can trace her ancestry right back to 1588. They are survivors of the Spanish Armada shipwreck, the Girona. And in more recent times, we've been guiding on the site for 140 years. My father-in-law taught me, and his father taught him. When you're there and you have that amount of knowledge, and you have that ability to bring the site back to life, we no longer believe that luxury is about gold taps and caviar. It's about experiences. And here, we want that to be a positive experience, a positive impact upon our culture, our community, and the people who are in our company enjoying that particular experience on the day. And you will certainly get that with me at the Giant's Causeway. Elsewhere, well, Bushmills is the oldest licensed distillery in the world. 1608 to make some beautiful whiskey. And they have a lovely little private bar. And we can meet the master distiller there and drink and sample some of the world's finest whiskies. Alan, you can keep your champagne. I'm happy with whiskey. And folks, the reason why we do what we do is very simple. It's to breathe new life into the history and the heritage of the people of this shore. It's to keep alive a family history that is interwoven with the very fabric of this shoreline. And it's to show the world that Northern Ireland is a beautiful country with beautiful people worth exploring and travelling to meet. And that's hugely important for me that we get that message across. The history, the heritage, the authenticity of the product, and the craftsmanship of the storyteller are all inextricably linked to the brand that is Adams and Butler. And folks, I only guide for a handful of companies. As I get older, I guide less, and as I get even older, I will guide even less. What I like about Adams and Butler is very simple. Siobhan and I are friends. I don't think there's a better ambassador for Ireland out in the marketplace. The mileage that she puts in is phenomenal, not only on our behalf in the United States of America, but here at home, to find people like me and the rest of the participants in this webinar today. And if I have something new or something that we want to do slightly differently, Siobhan will send her whole team north to spend time with us so that they really know the products inside out. And that's what you're buying. That's what you're getting when you entertain Siobhan and you have this service. So for me, it's a privilege to be involved, and it's a privilege to entertain you and to show off the wonderful country that is Ireland.
Wow, Mark, that's amazing. Thank you very much.
Doesn't compare to this. So thank you very much, Siobhan, for the opportunity. I'm delighted to talk here for you and to be able to among my peers showing off Northern Ireland. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. And there was a real old tagline for Northern Ireland Tourist Board, and I actually think it's very good. And it was, you never know unless you go. But they said it with a different accent. It was something like, you never know unless you go, or something like that. But anyway, the thing is, it's really true, because whenever we have clients go to Northern Ireland, when they come back again, they always want to go back to Northern Ireland. And it's something that is so underappreciated. Like I heard the National Stud Farm won #2 in the most underappreciated attractions in the world. I think Northern Ireland must be one of the most underappreciated regions because people don't know what's on offer and how much there is and of different types to please everyone until they go and they realize, which is it's amazing. So thank you for those words, Mark. We appreciate it. And it truly is a fantastic place. And we're finding that when we're booking clients, like at least I would say about 60% of our clients now go north, which is great because like I think, you know, we used to be in the 20s and it's encouraging them to go up and once they go, and it's so accessible, like it's literally up the road from Dublin, like Dublin Airport has so many connections. So I know Belfast is good, but to get them up to Belfast sometimes, you know, you need to use both airports. So the accessibility, it's 90 minutes up the road and you can start your amazing Northern Ireland trip. And always good at the beginning of a trip because that way the rooms are ready when you arrive. Whereas if you start Dublin first, you know, you might be waiting until the room comes free. So very quickly going over to Matthew now from the Old Inn in Crawfordsburn, and then we'll be hearing about the amazing experiences that are offered by Crindle Bespoke. Hi, Matthew.
Hi, Siobhan. Thank you very much for having me. Yes, so I'm Matthew Stockton. I'm the Business Development Manager here at the Old Inn in Crawfordsburn. For those of you that don't know maybe even where Crawfordsburn is, so we're just located 5 minutes outside of Bangor and 20 minutes from Belfast, only 10 minutes from Belfast City Airport. And up to about 90 minutes from Dublin Airport. So as Siobhan said there, you know, the accessibility is very good, and it's just trying to get people to turn right when they land into Dublin, as opposed to going down south even further. But so the Old Inn in Crawfordsburn, we're part of the Galgorm collection, and have been since March of 2021. And as Siobhan said earlier, in terms of the resurrection, I quite like that word, so I will use that from now on. In terms of the renovations that have taken place, we have modernized it. I'm sitting in one of our junior suites at the minute, but as you'll get a sense in the video, the Old Inn was constructed first in 1614, the original thatched part of the building. But even though we have done a lot of renovations, we have kept everything, you know, with the original character in mind. So again, as I said, we're located just outside Bangor, so it's a perfect spot. So if you're wanting to come and tour Northern Ireland and sightsee with Mark, or if you're wanting to tour the rest of Ireland or play golf, there's a lot of we're just 10 minutes from Royal Belfast and a lot of other local courses. So without further ado, I would ask if we could play the little video from our social media. So as I mentioned, the Old Inn the original thatched building was constructed in 1614, and you'll see a lot of reclaimed wood and dark wooden paneling throughout the property. It's a sort of common theme. This is our 1614 bar. So the bar is dog friendly, and it has a lot of cozy corners and open fires, and there's live music here every Thursday to Sunday, which has been a real treat for our guests. At the minute, we have our AA Rosette restaurant here, so we have a number of different styles of catering here, so you can have everything from our Old Inn favorites and your classic Irish dishes to your a la carte fine dining as well. We also have our lovely afternoon tea, which we introduced again just at the start of last year, and obviously a huge range of drinks that from across Ireland. One of the latest additions is our treetop spa, so you can see the thermal pool there. This is perched just above the country park. So we have a sauna, steam room, heated pool, heated relaxation area, private hot tub, and this is the relaxation conservatory, just as I say, perched above the country park. So nice and relaxing there. So there's a couple of different private dining spaces. This is the gallery. So again, it can be used for private dining. And then we have our suite. So this is just an example of one of our our bedrooms. This one actually has a private hot tub, which you can see there out on the balcony.
How many bedrooms do you have? Because that's one thing that I actually don't know.
So we have 32 at the minute. So there's 32 bedrooms, and there is a mix of everything from petite rooms up to our cottage. So we've got petite, carriage, highway, junior suites, suite, and a cottage as well, which is located on site here. And we actually have just in the last week had planning approved for 3 more cottages. So renovating existing buildings on site that will provide for 3 more private residences. So hopefully construction will take place on that in the coming year or next year to have those ready for sort of larger groups or sort of multi-generational families that want to come and stay. So a little bit of history in terms of the old inn. So as I said, 1614 was when the original building was constructed, and it has always been a place of rest or stayover from then. We have just in 2023 been inducted into Ireland's Blue Book, so which we're very proud of, and so one of 65 properties in the Blue Book. So as I said, we have the 32 bedrooms ranging from petite and to our cottage as well. All the rooms are different shapes and sizes. Obviously, with having such a historical building, no 2 shapes are the same. So we are, and all in that respect, all of the rooms are named. So we have people ringing up and saying, I stayed in Mount Stewart last time, I'd like to try Wee Jimmy's, or we've stayed in Rose and we want to stay in there again. So it's really nice that every room has its own character. In terms of the treetop spa, then, so as you saw in the video, we got the thermal heated pool, sauna, steam room, relaxation area, and heated waterbed. At the minute, this is only for residents, but we have started the construction of changing rooms. So in the near future, we will be able to allow day spa between check out and check in. But again, it'll be it's much more sort of intimate and cozier and quieter than the likes of some other sort of spas in the area. So it's nice and exclusive in that way. And as we said before, so in terms of the renovations that have taken place, this is just one of the 2 rooms that we have renovated, but we are moving our way through all of the bedrooms to bring them up to the similar sort of standard as this, but without losing that character. In terms of our private dining spaces, as you may have seen there, so the gallery is the most sort of unique room in the whole inn. Actually in that space, in terms of the history of the inn, so the inn is located on one of the oldest highways in Ireland, and the mailing packet would have always met, so the principal shipping route was Donaghadee to Port Patrick, and then the sailing packet would have met here at the inn, and in that place where the gallery was, that's where they would have changed the horses for then the mailing packet to go on and service the rest of Ulster in the 17th century. So it was quite a focal point in that time in terms of the history and in terms of providing for Ulster. There's a lot of history there, and it's as someone said before, in terms of what the walls could see or say, it's probably best not to, because 400 years of history. There is a lot of stories to be told, and then, I'm sure.
Just before you go to like things that are nearby, Mount. Oh my God, I'm getting a blank. Mount Stewart Gardens are beside you.
Yeah, so Mount Stewart,
Grey Abbey.
and the Grey Abbey in the Ards Peninsula. You can get to those sort of 30 minutes from the old inn. So then you've also got the country park, which is right beside us. So it's a really nice spot to go for a walk, a couple of 5K trails, and then obviously enjoy the spa after that. And just a 10-minute walk, you're down to the coastline. So if you get down to the coast, you can walk the whole way to Belfast from there. So yeah, and then in terms, as I mentioned briefly, in terms of the golf courses that we have, you've got Royal Belfast just 10 minutes away, and then Royal County Down about 80 minutes or so, and then obviously Portrush isn't too
So
far
it's an
as
alternative
well.
to staying in the city, or if people were doing a short break, maybe they could do yourselves and the city. So it's good. Lucia King just added there that she thinks the Old Inn's the only hotel in the island which incorporates a thatched roof, direct connection with C.S. Lewis. He honeymooned at the Old Inn, as attested by the blue plaque.
Yeah, yep. So the C.S. Lewis connection is very strong. We actually have renovation of one of our banqueting suites is going to be our new C.S. Lewis suite. And yes, as you mentioned, he honeymooned here in 1958 with his wife Joy, and stayed in the cottage that I mentioned, which is just perched beside the spa. So yes, whenever I heard you mention C.S. Lewis earlier, I thought she's nicked mine. Yeah, so we've
Well, it just shows the connection is throughout the area.
yeah, absolutely. And as much as we would like to try and claim him as our own and say that no one else is allowed to use C.S. Lewis for that, but yes, we have things like our C.S. Lewis menu and the C.S. Lewis suite, which we are working on as well at the minute. But yes, as I say, he honeymooned here in 1958 with Joy in the cottage. So yeah, there's, as I say,
Brilliant.
it's a great spot, and as Katie mentioned earlier, it's the same as what we were trying to do, make it a home from home, not like your sort of shiny corporate, and something
And with
like
the
that
open fires and the thatch roof as well is totally different. So we're going to leave it at that, if that's okay with you, Matthew, because I want to get Hannah in as well, just to talk about what she offers, because again, it's something very different. The other thing is, I saw 2 questions there about visas and stuff like that. So officially, Northern Ireland is part of the UK, but most people, if they come in through the UK, they've gone through border control. But if they are coming into Dublin, it's just like when they're driving up, there's no border, there's no frontier as such. You don't show your passport. The colours of the signs change on the road. You go from kilometres to miles, and vice versa. The same if you're going in from Donegal to Derry, or Cavan into Fermanagh, which is very popular route, as well. So you don't need a visa as such. Carry your passport with you, but there is no one to check it. So it's a very easy, just drive up the road and that's it. So Hannah, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. You're keeping well yourself?
I'm keeping very well. So I'm delighted that we're able to tell people about what you do, because it is very unique.
Yes, well, thank you very much for having me on today. So yes, I'm from Crindle Bespoke. I'm a co-owner, and we are creators of unique equestrian experiences. So we're located up on the north coast of Northern Ireland along the Causeway coastal route. So we tie in really well with the likes of the Giant's Causeway, Dunluce Castle, Carrickary Rope Bridge itineraries up in this area. So we are 5 generations in the family of horse throughout. We have had horses in the blood for quite some professional show jumper. So quite a bit of experience on my end, and it's normally me taking our guests out on their rides so we can ensure all the utmost safety and make sure everybody's having a great time. So really, we are exploring Ireland in a quirky way. So exploring different locations. So our prime locations are the Downhill Beach next to us, about 10 minutes drive away. So it's home to the iconic Mussenden Temple, also the ruins up on the cliff. You can see the ruins of the Downhill House. Also then
do we have a video, Hannah, just to get a sense of place?
Yes, well, we can play the video and then I'll
first.
Yeah, I think it's good, because then people will you can.
Yes. We don't have any sound in our video, so I'll maybe describe a little bit throughout. So as you can see, this is the Downhill Beach where we explore. We can go in the water with the horses, up onto the sand dunes there. Amazing views of Mussenden Temple, obviously. So as you can see, well, these horses, the breed of them, they're Irish cobs, so they're traditional to the area. They're very quiet and calm animals, so we can take riders of all abilities and ages. So we don't need our riders to have had any prior experience whatsoever. So as well, we bring our guests to our farm first of all, so they're acquainted with the horses before they get to these different locations. That just settles everybody's nerves, and they can do some sort of skill setting at home before we get there. So I suppose this is our farm where, as I said, we get a lovely Irish welcome, tea, coffee, scones, and depending on what time of year, you could see little baby lambs, little calves, and I suppose it's just getting that farm experience up and close with the animals. So maybe some people who are living in more urban areas would never have had a chance to get up close and personal with the likes of the horses. So this is our countryside estate, Pelipper Estate. So it's a very ultra luxe estate or experience. So here we'll be riding along ancient avenues. We've got river walks there, and you're just really riding back through time is really what we call that experience. So then we go on now back to the beach. So we can have our beach rides during the day, or the most popular is in the evening. We'll really get the sunset, and it's just spectacular seeing the horses riding along the beach and the sunset in the background. It's just a really amazing view. And when you're sitting on a horse, it's hard to know if maybe some people have ridden before, but when you're on a horse, you're very grounded, you're very in the moment, you're taking in all of the views around you, the sounds, the smells. It's just a very grounding and therapeutic almost. You really feel very refreshed. You've been immersed in nature, immersed in the surroundings, the beautiful scenery. So it's quite an experience being on a horse in these locations. So to sort of elevate our experiences, we do work with other local businesses. So we can offer wild dining on the beach, also Bohemian picnics. So we had an engagement not too long ago where we had the Bohemian picnic there. We also offer professional photography, videography, drone footage and such, so that people can really have those amazing memories of their time with us. So, and then with the private estate, our additions to that can be sheepdog demonstrations, falconry, also the whiskey tasting in the drawing room. So there's the local Limavady whiskey who we've teamed up with. And then one that isn't included in the video is a new addition to our portfolio, which is exclusive access to the Mussenden Temple and Downhill Demise. So we've teamed up with the National Trust there. So we're the only equestrians that are able to ride up close and personal to the Mussenden Temple. And
sorry, Hannah, there's a question there, dining options. You can provide picnics, you can provide, like you can do it as a day or a few days trip, can't you as well?
Yeah, you can come we can put together a day or a few days, as you said. We also have our nearby different accommodation options. There's 5-star B&Bs, there's quirky forest cabins.
Well, Hannah, hold on. Hopefully they'll be booking the accommodation through us, so don't worry about that.
I'll not sell that too much. So no, we can do the picnics, we can organize dining.
And like you can have dinner in Mussenden Temple as well. So if it was a summer day, they could go and maybe ride there, have an early supper and ride back if they're not too, if they can still stay straight in the saddle.
Alcohol to a minimum maybe. But yes, of course, dining in Mussenden Temple. You can dine in the Grand Hall in Pelipper Estate. We can bring in professional chefs and waiting staff and whatnot, so it can be that really 5-star experience.
And to be honest, it's nothing better than horse riding on a beach. I think it's one of the nicest experiences in the world.
Yes. Oh, it's amazing. Until you do it, you just don't know, but it's a really surreal feeling and a bucket list experience for sure.
And then what was I going to say as well? What ages can you cater for? That's always important.
So no, we can cater for a wide range of ages. So we've had children from 5 years old up. So obviously we'll be bringing in more staff for those occasions. It's again, I'm always taking the lead, keeping an eye, risk assessing. Again, as I said, we bring our guests to our farm, first of all, to get them partnered with the right horses, because you have to bring into thought the ability of the rider and the I can't find the right word, but just to make sure that they're a good match. So again, bringing in more staff. So we'll have the kids maybe on lead reins, and very, very quiet horses. We actually had a 90-year-old gentleman riding one of our horses on the beach. It was his dream to ride on the beach in Ireland, and he felt comfortable to do that with us because he trusted us, he trusted our horses, and he had an amazing time. So yep, any age really.
It's fantastic. I think it's a fantastic offering that complements everything. I came across a woman recently, and we do a lot of private experiences in the Shannon, and she brings people for a horse ride from the Shannon area, like Lough Derg, and brings them down to I think it was Doolin, and it takes 6 days.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow,
But,
yeah.
so there's lots
Quite
of
a ride.
little, like if people wanted an equestrian experience throughout Ireland, there's lots of different places they can hook up with as well. So it is something to try and encourage people to do. Is there anything we're missing out then? The ages we covered, the temperament of the horse, you can cater for any ability, whether they've never ridden a horse before or whether they're experienced. Yeah, and then dining options. What about time of the year? Are you open all year?
No seasonality. Yep, we're open all year. So again, the Irish weather's fairly, doesn't get too hot, too cold. We can have the odd rain shower, but we have got all the equipment. So we've got the wet gear, we've got our riding helmets. They're all of the best quality. So no, we can operate all through the year. We actually were quite busy at Christmas this year, which was our sort of first year that we had quite a bit of business through the holiday season. So no, we're open to go all year round.
And then another question that came in is about weight restrictions. Is there a weight limit for clients?
Normally we take, I suppose we're working in stone, so up to about 16 stone. We have some quite nice, strong, sturdy horses. So yeah, we can take up to about 16 stone.
I think a lot of people on the webinar are American, so they would be familiar with the stone. And then the Canadians or whoever else can do that, can do the
conversions. Yes. Yeah.
I don't know what 16 stone is in kilos, so
I would need the calculator in front of me.
But
no, that's about.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So brilliant. That's absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much, Hannah, as well, for joining us, because as I said, it's lovely to show I know you've been there for a few years, but it's lovely to show what's on offer, and it sort of highlights the beauty as well.
Yes.
Very much the hidden gem. But also the other thing is you see much more nature when you're on a horse, because the animals, like the rabbits and everything, don't realize, they don't see you, they see the horse.
No, that's it. That's right.
So I often find it's amazing what you see in a horse that you wouldn't see if you were walking.
No, that is right. You very much fit in with nature when you're on the horse. I suppose compared to driving and whatnot, you're just going at a much slower pace and you can really take in your surroundings. But I suppose that maybe ties in with that we can offer nice, slow, relaxing rides for those with, who are maybe more novice riders, or we do have the horsepower to really fuel those adrenaline rides down the beach. So yeah, we can do it all.
And it's lovely as a family experience as well when you have young children or teenagers as well with their parents. And teenagers, we always find, is probably the most difficult age group to offer something. So it fits in nicely with that as well.
Yeah.
So we're going to wrap it up there because we went a little bit over. We made a little boo-boo in the sense that we were using a new system and the time was different. So I know a few people just joined us there at the end, but don't worry, everyone will be getting a recording. There was 170 odd people registered earlier today, so we'll be sending a recording out to everyone. But just to remind you, if some of you just join straight through the link and you haven't registered, send an email to sales@adamsonbutler.com and we can send you on the recording. So there's someone just raised their hand. I think that's okay. I think they were just the weights that were coming in there. The equivalent was around £224. So yeah. So the next Gio, do we have a webinar next week? We don't, because I'm in Uganda. Or are we?
Yeah, we don't have anything at the moment. There's a few on the back burn, but not.
We'll be sending those out. I'm in Uganda for the next 2 Wednesdays. We might possibly do one on Wednesday week from Uganda, but we haven't sort of explored that option yet. So thank you to everyone for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you on a future webinar. And once again, thanks to the panelists as well. So we had Alan, Hannah, Mark, Matthew, Katie, Melanie. I think I covered everyone, did I? Yeah, Hannah as well. So that's brilliant. So thanks a million and see you on a future webinar. Take care.